Hi! So today I'm gonna make a cheesecake, and this one is at my daughter's request. Please forgive my hiccups. So first thing we're gonna do is take gluten-free Oreos. I got them from Trader Joe's so that I don't have to actually go get the really expensive or gluten-free Oreos. But yeah, they're perfect. They're just as good. And it's almost like they're double stuffed, actually. So all I'm gonna do is get these into a crumb-like mixture, and then we're gonna press it into the pan. And there's a trick to that, so let's do this first. Okay, so that was just one swipe through 1 minute of it. I'm gonna do one more minute because I want it to be really, really, really fine. I don't want big, coarse pieces of cookies. Oh. Hiccups. Okay, so this was a whole box of cookie. If anybody has a good hiccup remedy, let me know. And I'm just gonna take this out. I'm gonna dump the whole thing in for the cheesecake. Comes out pretty clean. I love this ninja thing. All right, so here's the bad part. My nails are gonna look like I just combed through dirt when I'm done with this, but this time, I think I'm actually gonna try using a utensil. Usually I just use my fingers, but I know I can get pretty far with just using, and see, and there I go. I just start forgetting my own rules all of a sudden, sheesh. So I'm gonna push this up against the sides. The thing about it is I wanna have it be fairly even in the bottom, and as I push up the sides, I might end up actually creating spaces there. It's okay, just push them back down. But what you wanna do is get in the corner. This is where a utensil comes in handy. You wanna get in the corner because the last thing you want when you eat cheesecake is to have this gigantic cookie corner that you can't really eat or cut through with your knife. So what this means is it takes a little bit of practice to kind of get just the right amount of cookie along the sides. So for the most part, what I do is I allocate more of the cookie to the sides because it's really easy to put it in the middle. Here's what I mean. So the crust is probably the hardest part for anybody to get a cheesecake right. And I actually started building cheesecakes. I say building because I feel like I'm building a freaking wall here made of cookie powder with no mortar. And by the way, most cheesecake recipes will tell you to add butter to it to make this part easier. I'm not a big fan of adding extra calories to a light cheesecake that I'm making, so I'm gonna put in the extra work so I don't have to put in the extra work at the gym, you know what I mean? Anyway, so I've been building cheesecakes since I was a teenager. This was my gateway recipe into cooking and all things tasteful, into being a foodie, as a matter of fact. Well, growing up with parents that cook pretty good didn't hurt either. So what we want to do is we want to build as big of a wall on the sides as we can before we head into the middle. See, now now I kind of got it back. I guess I lost my groove there for a minute while I was busy talking to you, and I should have been focused on what I was doing and just letting my mouth run off like it is right now. So see how much cookie it took to get it up the sides? And now I'm pressing it into the middle, but watch this. I'm now gonna go around and I'm gonna very lightly kind of scrape the cookie out of the corner. so that we actually have cake in the corner of our cheesecake and not just some freaking giant cookie that leaves us wishing that we could eat it, but unable to without having cookie flying in our freaking faces. And yeah, by the way, I curse a lot, and I may or may not excuse myself for it at times. So I'm gonna give you a blanket, like, please excuse me up front. So see how much extra cookie I carved out of the corner, but I could not have gotten the wall of cookie up without building into that corner to begin with, right? I'm pretty sure there's some structural engineers in here who are gonna be like, yep, that's totally right. And the girl in me says, I flippin' hate that that's what it does to my nails. But since I don't go get expensive manicures or anything like that anyway, I guess I can just scrape them out and go. But I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be still scraping this cookie stuff out for like a week. Okay, so this is done. What I'm gonna do is pop it in the freezer for a few minutes while we make the batter, so that the fat that is inside the cookie has a chance to like really kind of solidify a little bit more, because when I pour the batter on top of it, it might start to crumble if I don't do that. So this goes in the freezer really fast, and I only know that from experience because I have yet to see a recipe that tells you to, by the way, freeze your dough.
Cool.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, so I highly recommend whenever you're making desserts that you drink some wine along with it. This is my rule. This is not everybody's rule, but I give you permission because I feel that this is getting in the spirit and the love of making a beautiful dessert.
Mm. Cheers.
Cheers. Now I need more wine. Okay, so let's make the batter. First thing I did was I've had this sitting out for the last couple of hours so that they come to room temperature. Cream cheese that is at room temperature is much easier to mix, and it mixes much more smoothly than cream cheese that comes straight out of the fridge. Have you ever tried to make a cheesecake and it had some lumps in it and you were like, I don't understand, I've been beating this thing to death and it still won't do what I want? I bet you there's some wives out there that have been married 40 years that have those same thoughts, don't they? Right? Okay, anyway. Hey, maybe some husbands too, now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, they're like, Ellie, how many drinks did you have before you started recording? I don't know. Anyway.
More than one.
So, shh. Oh, narrator, Mr. Narrator, we don't need your stupid input. Okay, this is 12 plus ounces. So probably right around 14 ounces of cream cheese. 12 ounces is perfectly fine for normal sized cheesecake. There just happened to be a little bit extra because it didn't get used in a different recipe the other day, so I just thought I'd go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is bring this up and I'm going to cream together. You always want to cream together your fats and your sugars. So this takes half a cup of sugar, and what I'm using is monk fruit sugar. So it's a plant-based sugar alternative. It's got erythritol and monk fruit. The reason for that is, and it has no calories, the reason I'm doing that is because, frankly, I just don't want to have to work that hard on Friday to get this off. And so, because I want to have more of my dessert and eat it too, right? The cookies have completely real sugar in it. So I'm adding 3/4 of a cup-ish here. And so when you're baking, like I said, you always want to cream together your sugar and your sugars and your fats right off the bat before you start adding in any liquids. So this is true for pies and cheesecakes and cookies and darn near everything, actually. And see, it turns into this big glob, right? So now, then we speed it up a little bit. And then a little bit more. And now you can see how it starts to release from the whisk. This is what we want.
Starts to look like butter.
You want it to churn a little bit like that. And the faster you go, the less of it is going to stick to the whisk. And then we turn it off. Now what I'm going to do is add in eggs. Eggs and, oop, I put the vanilla away. Okay, do not make fun of me for my egg display here. I can hear the snickering from the camera person.
It's off by 1.
It was a perfect pattern. It's off by 1 now because I took 1 out. What the heck? Well, now it's off by 2. Are we really doing this?
No, now it's symmetrical again.
And 3. Yes, yes indeed. And 4. Now it's symmetrical again. That's what we wanted.
Because it's like that around here.
Because I'm a big numbers nerd. And he's a big numbers nerd. Okay.
Well, and they look like Tetris pieces. You can't unsee that now.
Nope. Okay, so now we start off slowly. You do not go straight back to where you were with this because you will be covered in egg. Because as you see, the cream cheese kind of makes a little barrier. So we have to go very slowly, incorporating it a little quicker, a little quicker. Okay, I've lost my patience with this. I'm like the worst ADHD cook ever.
Not much waiting around here, huh?
We don't wait for anybody.
Boring. Yeah.
I don't even get mad when y'all don't wait for me because I'm like, well, I've trained you well. Do not wait for anyone. Keep going, tally ho, and all of that shit. Uh-oh, you might have to edit that out. I don't know if that's a thing.
I'll do some editing.
Okay, probably a good idea.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and back to slow, and then back to quick. And a little quicker. A little vanilla. Nope.
It's a very precise amount.
A little. I'm gonna do this one. This one's gonna be a good one. A little lemon juice. A very precise amount. Salt. That feels good to me.
A dash of 12.
Something like that. And then, but this one is important because you don't want to have, like, if it's okay to have a little too much or a little too little of something, I'm fine with it. And cheesecakes are very forgiving. But the first decade, I never thought about adding flour to the cheesecake. And since adding just a couple of tablespoons of flour, I saw a recipe once that had that, and I thought, wait a minute, how come nobody else does that? So I tried it. Well, now I know.
And she likes doing things that nobody else is doing.
Well, that is part of who I am. I feel like I should have some music going. But hold on. I'm going to turn this off for a second because I got to scrape the sides. I'm getting these balls of cheese, and I want to make sure that on the bottom... No, nobody likes cheese balls. Cheese does not have any balls. Mm-hmm. We don't want to have anything to do with that. Okay. Cool. All of a sudden, I had an epiphany of my friend Ginger and her husband Mike that have been doing YouTube video reactions, and I thought, really? How could that be interesting? I'm sure somebody could say that about a cooking video, but then when you get a chance to see me and you're like, oh, she's weird. Yeah, then probably is a little bit more entertaining, huh?
More than somewhat.
But she's my kind of weird.
No, I might not have to do as much editing as I thought I would have to do. Some of this is gold.
Okay, so my daughter wanted I had made a strawberry cheesecake. Now what I did is I used these freeze-dried strawberries. And because I forgot them, I was going to put a layer in between. And I forgot them. So I then had to like take the cheesecake out of the oven and then like try to shove them in somehow. Well, you know how things go when you try to just shove them in somehow. They don't tend to go well. So then I just kind of sprinkled some on top and whatnot. So now I'm kind of trying a new way of doing it. And I don't know if it's going to work out because I think these three guys entrees have been open just a little too long. But maybe I'll just say fuck it and go for it and shove them in anyway, because some of the best surprises come when you do that. See? There's some interesting powder in here. Well, not too stale. Actually, that's probably going to turn out to be just the right amount. I don't think I need the jam. Looking at it, okay, I'm gonna scrape the sides one last time since I added that last ingredient, because it's all over the whisk and the sides, and I lost at least half of it to that. But I think this is going to turn out much, much better than the last one where I just had it layered, because what I intended to do was this.
Now it's more like a strawberry cheesecake.
Yeah, almost like a strawberry shortcake cheesecake.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's good. So what I intend to do each time is try to discover something new with you. A new way of doing something that I've already done, or a new flavor, a new twist on something. That's really what I'm after, so that I can be just as surprised if the outcome is you. Hey, okay, so the cheesecake came out. It puffed up a little bit. I've had it sitting out so it will settle down. And now I'm gonna put just a heaping spoonful-ish. Okay, that's a little much. All right, and I'm gonna put this into a light sour cream. I'm stirring it in to make the glaze. It's a really, really simple glaze, you guys, because I don't like the way that looks. And I want just a little bit of tartness on top of the cheesecake to kind of help balance out the sweetness. So I didn't really stir it in all the way because I wasn't exactly sure how much of this I would use, but it's okay. It was most of it, because I can see where I did that. Now I could reserve this for another round of glaze if I want. So I'm going to spread this evenly over the top of the cheesecake. And when this comes out, it's going to make this beautiful, glossy, white, creamy topping. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm going to put this in the oven at 425 for 5 minutes. Actually, I'm going to put it on 450 for 5 minutes. There we go. That ought to do it. Hi. Okay, so I poured the batter in, and you can see there's some bigger chunks. There's a lot of little red flakes. I love this. Most importantly, here's what I wanted you to see. Like, the batter does not fall below the crust. It doesn't fall inside of it. I got the crust up high enough. This is going to take a while to kind of get the amounts right and the vibe right, because sometimes you could do like 1 or 2 less eggs or a little more cookie or too much. Anyway, bottom line is we want it to kind of be like this, where there's extra cookie, because I'm gonna put a layer on top of it. I'm gonna glaze it with some sour cream and brown sugar when this gets done baking. So I wanted it like this, and the glaze will actually end up being about as high as the top layer is there. There'll just be a little bit of overlap, but it won't be too bad at all. So what I'm doing is I'm baking it. I don't know if you can see this, because my cameraman is way on the other side of the kitchen. So we're in my little apartment. I'm baking it 40 minutes at 350. And what I'm gonna do when that's done is I'm gonna shake it. I'm gonna jiggle it a little. So I'm gonna take it open, I'm gonna do this. And if it is still just as liquidy as that little shake, I'm going to let it cook an extra 5 minutes. And I'm going to do it again and again and again until it doesn't shake like that throughout the whole thing. There might be a small little amount in the middle that shakes, but that's perfectly fine. I just don't want it to shake like it just did. So now I'm going to set that to go, and I'll see you back when it's done.